Yeah, we're 4 hours late on this, so I apologize, but unfortunately I kinda do have a life outside of YouTube, so I'm sorry. We had to wait a while to make this video, but man, was I wrong! Really? I took the L here because I said in the video a few days ago on the Lucas Raymond signing that I thought Moritz Seider, if he went long-term, he might not have been able to get the same kind of dollar amount or anywhere near that. But turns out, Moritz Seider and the Wings, they've agreed to a 7-year contract extension with an AAV of $8.55 million a year. Mo Seider has gotten fully inked up, and it's a long-term deal. Steve Yzerman broke his pattern with both Seider and Raymond. So much for the, he only signs bridge deals to guys coming off of their ELCs. So much for Ondrej Palat, Nikita Kucherov, Andrei Vasilevsky, JT Miller, Victor Hedman, and everybody else in Tampa. Stevie Y said, sorry, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to go long-term. We're going to sign Lucas Raymond to an 8-year deal. We're going to sign Moritz Seider to a 7-year deal. And the AAVs, honestly, I like these. The dollar amounts are pretty beefy, that's for sure, but when you consider what Moritz Seider is and what he could be, there is no telling what this guy is going to be capable of doing as he ages and gets better. Darnell Nurse is making 9. So, Moritz Seider making 8.55, I think, is a pretty reasonable dollar amount. Take a look at the breakdown, the tail of the tape here. 23 years old, 6'4", 205 right-handed guy. A player who will pretty much stay at the top of the Red Wings D-core for the next 7 years. The contract goes on till 2030, 2031, and last season he scored himself 42 points in 82 games. Now, sure, his best season statistically was his rookie year. He had 50 points in that year. He had more assists in his rookie year than he had points in the most previous year. But when you consider the usage and the availability, just where Seider was in the lineup, look at this, man. These were regular games that were being played in regulation. Okay, the one game here, 28 minutes, but that was a shootout win. Either way, 26 minutes, 27 minutes, 25 minutes, 28 minutes. Mo Seider has been a workhorse that does not stop running. And the Red Wings are committing themselves to this player for the next 7 years on a dollar amount that is, as we had all talked about, still less than Dylan Larkin's. Take a look at Chris Johnston and his tweet here. Mo Seider signs a 7-year extension with the Wings, carrying an $8.55 million AAV. He's taking 1 year less than the maximum allowable in order to stay under the $8.7 million AAV mark made by teammate Dylan Larkin. So it's the old Lidstrom Rule. It's coming out there again, and Stevie Y is staying true to it. The question here is, so are they not going to pay anyone more than 8.7 until 2031? Most teams in the NHL do not have multiple players making over 10 million, besides the Leafs, of course. The Oilers will have 2 if McDavid signs. And that is exactly what's going on here. Most teams in the NHL do not have that. And it's just really Toronto that broke the mold and allowed players to think about, hey, we can all make $10+ million. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they did in the late 2000s. Totally different circumstance, but they wouldn't pay anyone more than Lidstrom. Marian Hossa, when he signed there for 1 year, made $7.45 million because Detroit wouldn't pay anyone more than him. This is the AFP Analytics post that went out there and made itself known. The deal that Seider signed comes in above their projection, but after Brock Faber's deal earlier this offseason, it isn't a surprise to see an AAV just above his. AFP projected Seider to getting a 7-year, $8.1 million AAV cap hit, $56 million in total value, but Moritz Seider got an 8.55. Not saying that he's overpaid or anything, just saying that the projections and the models and the numbers, how it all coagulates here. Seider did get a little bit higher than he probably should have compared to the projected contract details, but come on, a difference of $400,000 for a guy who's 23 years old, wherein the contract is going to expire when he's 30. It's not that big of a deal. It's not really an overpay. Let's scroll down to comparable players and contracts. You can take a look here. The other names that are listed alongside of the Moritz Seider deal, they're actually all paid less than him, unfortunately. Doesn't do that good of a job in saying that Seider got a steal of a deal, but Aaron Ekblad signed a $7.5 million AAV deal. The cap hit percentage actually was higher with Ekblad's deal compared to what Seider got. Seider's current deal is 9.72% of the cap. Aaron Ekblad got a 10% deal of the cap. Quinn Hughes made $7.85 million. Owen Power made $8.35. You know what? Seider getting paid more than Power makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Seider making more money than Sanderson. It makes sense now, I would say. Colton Parekh go $5.5 million as well, so you could kind of see the tail of the tape there. We did talk about those two names, though, Power and Sanderson, in the prior video, and how the Seider camp may be using those numbers as dollar amount comparables. At the end of the day, though, if I was building a team from scratch, I had a choice between Power, Sanderson, and Seider, I would choose Seider. It makes sense. It's just the other guys, Power and Sanderson, are younger, so there is a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt that you could project for those two compared to Seider, who was drafted in 2019, I believe it was. Yeah, 2019. Power was 2021, and Sanderson was... Oh, was he 2020? Yeah, that's what it was. So, either way, it's an okay contract. I'm not going to say it's a steal, but I am going to say it's great that Stevie Y went the 7 years. In fact, there was another tweet that I wanted to go out there and show y'all that was pretty interesting in regards to this conversation. It's right here. NHL Watcher went out there and said this: I don't know if I agree with this whole you can't make more than the captain approach that Detroit is taking. Montreal does it too. The cap is going to rise. Salaries are going to rise. If you're the captain, you should be happy that your teammate is getting paid. And while that is more of a, I don't know, is that like a pro-worker kind of democratic way to look at it? I don't think that's the right word to use, but I'm going to use it anyway. While it is true that you would probably like to see your teammates get paid a lot of money, at the same time, a system like this doesn't really have anybody that it's offending. The players that are signing these contracts still get paid. They're getting long-term deals. The teams are getting these players for extremely good contracts in the latter half of those deals. Look, Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, they're going to be 30, 29 years old. No, 30 and 30 years old, right? Because Raymond was drafted a year after Seider, and he got an 8-year deal. Seider got a 7-year deal. They're both going to be 30 when their contracts expire. You think for ages 25, 6, 7, 8, they're going to not get any better? They're going to get so much better. And they're going to be making cap hits that are less than Dylan Larkin's 8.7, Raymond making just over 8, Seider making 8.5, and those contracts are going to be seen as steals by the time 2027, 2028 rolls around. That is why Detroit is very happy to do this. And for the players themselves, they're still getting money. Not everybody is a money-hungry, grubby paws kind of Mr. Krabs, Paul Marner, Mitch Marner thing like the Toronto Maple Leafs have had. Not everybody is super greedy like that. We just saw Sidney Crosby make $8.7 million. That's a guy putting his stamp on the mark and saying, yeah, I don't need to make a lot of money. I'm fine. Sidney Crosby left $40 million worth of value on the table over the past, 15 years, because that guy just does not end up getting paid as much as he should. These two, Raymond and Seider, are totally okay with the dollar amounts, because if they weren't, why would they have signed the deal? Why would they have? So this entire thing here, NHL Watcher, I understand it from a fundamental point of view, but from a hockey team building perspective, it's a totally great thing, especially if you're able to get your players to go along with it. Toronto is like the only team that ended up breaking this mold, and I don't think that should be seen as the benchmark of what should be in the NHL. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Moritz Seider signing an $8.55 million AAV extension. The contract gets signed on day 1 of training camp, so everything worked out, baby. Seider is 8.55, Raymond is 8.05, I think. That's something like that. Yeah, it's just a tad over 8 million. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.